Listen carefully because this explains experiences you have noticed but may not have understood. Chosen one, stop everything. Do not let this play in the background. What I am about to reveal is not common information. This requires your full attention. While preparing this message, something stood out so clearly about you that I had to pause. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was unexpected. You did something, and I'm not talking about something you planned, performed, or tried to do to impress heaven. I'm talking about something that flowed so naturally from who you are that you didn't even realize the spiritual weight of it. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, this sounds exaggerated. This sounds like the same spiritual hype I've heard before. This feels like big words meant to make me feel special. So let me be very clear. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm going to show you the evidence. I'm going to describe what you did, when it happened, and why it caused a reaction in the spiritual realm that was not ordinary. Before I continue, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because what you're about to understand about your position, your pain, and your protection will permanently change how you interpret your life. Stay until the end, because I will give you 3 unmistakable confirmations that something irreversible has already shifted within you. And yes, this also explains why certain attacks against you are ending and why some people who moved against you are about to face consequences they did not anticipate. If you felt recently that something inside you changed, as if you crossed a line and there's no going back, type 777 in the comments. There is something you need to understand. The spiritual realm is not chaotic. It operates with order, structure, and boundaries. Growth has patterns. Transformation has stages. Spiritual maturity has recognizable markers. For generations, this process was predictable. People awakened, people healed, people served. Some went deeper than others, but all within what was understood to be the human capacity. Until something unusual appeared. Not loud, not dramatic, not attention-seeking. You. You didn't announce your strength. You didn't broadcast your suffering. You didn't demand recognition. You endured quietly. You forgave without applause. You kept your integrity while being misunderstood. You stayed kind when becoming cold would have been easier. And that combination, obedience without reward, faith without visibility, endurance without validation, created something rare. Your inner posture changed. And when that happened, your spiritual signal no longer fit expected patterns. Not because you became divine, not because you became superior, but because you matured beyond survival. You stopped reacting. You stopped needing validation. You stopped needing revenge. That level of internal authority is uncommon, not impossible, but uncommon. Now listen carefully, because this matters. You did not surpass God. You did not become divine. You did not override heaven. What you surpassed were assumptions. Assumptions about how long it takes to heal. Assumptions about how much pain breaks a person. Assumptions about how much betrayal a heart can absorb without turning bitter. You reached a level of spiritual stability that many people only reach after years of visible transformation. And you reached it internally first. That's why it feels strange. That's why people can't read you anymore. That's why your reactions changed before your circumstances did. It's like breaking a record without training for the race, not because you were trying to win, but because resilience became your nature. That is what shifted. And when that happens, protection changes, discernment sharpens, and attacks lose access. If this resonates, like this video, subscribe and stay connected, because the next message explains why this shift had to happen in silence and what comes next now that you can't return to who you were. Type 777 if you felt it. You didn't imagine it. Something ended, something stabilized, and something new is already moving toward you. When your frequency was flagged, it did not create panic, but it did create silence. Because heaven is accustomed to rebellion, darkness, resistance, even failure. What it is not accustomed to is unexpected purity under pressure. Your life triggered a review not because you demanded attention, but because your existence contradicted expectation. You see, heaven monitors intent more than action. And what stood out was this. You continued choosing integrity when compromise would have been easier. You continued choosing humility when recognition was available. You continued choosing faith when disbelief would have been logical. That combination is rare. And when it was confirmed that this was not a temporary spike, but your default state, a recalibration occurred. Not punishment, not correction, reassignment. Some of the delays you experienced were not resistance. They were containment. Some of the isolation you felt was not abandonment. It was protection. Some of the confusion you endured was not chaos. It was preparation for clarity that requires strength to carry. Because when a soul reaches this level, the rules change. This explains why, just as you began stabilizing internally, external pressure increased. Misunderstandings multiplied. People projected onto you. Attacks came from unexpected directions. Support vanished without explanation. This was not coincidence. When a soul crosses a threshold, dormant opposition becomes active. Not because you are weak, but because you are visible. You are no longer ignored by forces that only engage when something matters. And notice this. They tried to exhaust you, not corrupt you. They tried to distract you, not destroy you. They tried to slow you, not stop you. Because corruption didn't work. Fear didn't work. Bitterness didn't work. So pressure was the last attempt. And yet, you remained. This is the most important part. So listen carefully. Your next season is not about proving anything. It is about stewardship. You will notice greater discernment, faster consequences for misalignment, quicker clarity about people, stronger intuition, less tolerance for what drains you. This is not you becoming cold. This is you becoming precise. Your protection has increased. Your accountability has increased. Your authority has increased, which is why shortcuts will feel uncomfortable, which is why compromise will feel heavy, which is why alignment will feel peaceful, even when it's challenging. If this message resonated deeper than emotion, if it felt like recognition rather than motivation, then this wasn't random content. This was confirmation. Like this video to anchor this moment. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next, because the next messages build on this one. And comment 777 if you know, without needing proof, that something within you has already shifted and there is no going back. This isn't hype. This is alignment. And now you move forward differently. And what was discovered when your case was examined caused what can only be described as celestial amazement. Not because you cheated, not because you accessed a forbidden shortcut, not because you had advantages denied to others. It was because you demonstrated something that had been considered theoretically impossible. You proved that the maximum limit was not truly maximum, that there was territory beyond what the map had ever shown. And here is what you must understand about divine design. The Creator never established limits to restrain His creation. Those limits were based on observation, not restriction. They described what had been achieved, not what was possible. They were descriptive, not prescriptive. So when you surpassed them, you did not violate any cosmic law. You expanded the definition of what was possible, and that expansion was not met with punishment, not with alarm, not with correction. It was met with something the human language rarely uses correctly: pride, not arrogance, not ego, but the pure pride of a father who witnesses his child accomplish something even he had not imagined possible. It did not diminish the father. It magnified what his creation was capable of becoming. That is what you caused. Celestial admiration, not for perfection, but for how you processed pain, for how you kept your light when everything worked against it, for how you transformed suffering into depth instead of bitterness. You proved that human potential does not have the ceiling everyone assumed, and that admiration did not remain symbolic. It triggered practical consequences, already active in your life, even if you have not consciously recognized them yet. From the moment your frequency was registered as anomalous, protection protocols were activated, protocols reserved only for exceptional cases, not because you are more important than other souls, but because what you represent holds strategic value for collective evolution. Let me explain what this means in practical terms. The first protection is what can be described as a repellent for incompatible frequencies. You have noticed that certain people you once tolerated now feel unbearable to be around. This is not arrogance. It is not intolerance. Your energy system now rejects frequencies that no longer resonate with your operating level. Just like a body that suddenly becomes allergic to food it once digested easily, this rejection is not voluntary. It is energetic incompatibility. That is why some relationships have cooled or ended. Not because you failed, not because you changed for the worse. Your protection activated, moving you away from what no longer aligns and clearing space for what does. The second protection is what can only be called an intentions radar. You now sense when something is off, even when everything appears normal on the surface. You feel the disconnect between words and energy. You detect dishonesty without needing proof. This is not paranoia. This is expanded perception. You are receiving information that once remained invisible to you, and it is protecting you from traps that previously would have succeeded. The third protection is a shield against directed attacks. Those who speak against you, those who project negativity toward you, those who wish harm, consciously or unconsciously. Their efforts no longer reach you the way they once did. You may sense the attempt, but the impact is neutralized before it penetrates your field. It is as if you now wear invisible armor, deflecting what once would have wounded you deeply. This does not mean you are invincible. It does not mean you should act carelessly. It means this: the level of protection surrounding you is now proportional to the position you reached, and it strengthens every single day you maintain your elevated frequency. There is something else you need to understand, because it is already influencing your daily interactions in ways you may not have consciously connected yet. Since you surpassed the level, your presence began emitting a frequency that affects everyone who comes into contact with you. And the reactions you receive depend entirely on the frequency in which they operate. Those who function at similar or compatible frequencies feel drawn to you. They experience a magnetic pull they cannot explain. They feel inexplicably safe in your presence. They want to be near you, even if they do not know why. They sense correctly that you understand them in ways others do not. Your capacity for understanding expanded along with your frequency. But those who operate at lower frequencies experience the opposite reaction. Your presence creates discomfort they cannot explain. They feel exposed. They feel internally unsettled. Sometimes even judged, though you are doing nothing to judge them. It is not your behavior. It is what your light reveals. Light does not attack darkness. Light simply exposes it. And when someone has built their identity on illusion, truth feels threatening, not because truth is aggressive, but because it cannot be negotiated with. This is why some people attack you for no apparent reason, why they invent stories, why they attempt to discredit or sabotage you. Not because of what you did to them, but because of what your presence makes them feel about themselves. When someone who lives in distortion stands near someone who lives in truth, the distortion reacts defensively. You became a mirror, and not everyone can endure their own reflection. Here is what matters most. You do not need to lower your frequency to make others comfortable. You do not need to dim your light to accommodate those who choose shadow. Your responsibility is simple. Stay exactly where you are. Those who are able to rise will rise. Those who are not will drift away naturally without effort. Do not chase them. Do not convince them. Do not exhaust yourself trying to illuminate those who prefer darkness. Your light is better used for those who are actively searching for the way out. Now I need to show you something that will completely transform how you interpret your past, because nothing you lived through was random. Every experience carried purpose, though it was invisible while you were inside it. Every wound you received contained a gift, not an easy gift, not a comfortable one, but the kind that only reveals itself after pain has done its work and perspective becomes possible. That devastating betrayal, the one you believed would destroy you, contained the seed of your current discernment. Before it, you were too trusting, too open without boundaries, unable to distinguish between those who wished you well and those who smiled while sharpening the blade. The betrayal hurt, but it gave you vision. That loss that emptied you, the one you thought you would never survive, created the space necessary for what truly belongs to you. Before the loss, your life was full, not nourished, just occupied. The loss cleared space, painful space, necessary space, and that deep loneliness, the one that convinced you no one in the world could understand you, contained the silence required to hear your own voice. Before it, the noise of others drowned out your intuition. Other people's opinions outweighed your inner knowing. Loneliness taught you self-trust. This is what it means to process pain in a way that elevates rather than destroys. Not denying the wound, not minimizing the pain, but extracting the wisdom hidden inside it. And you did exactly that, likely without realizing it. You thought you were surviving, but you were doing far more. You were transmuting, turning lead into gold, pain into power, wound into wisdom. Most people process pain linearly. They suffer, they endure. Eventually they move on. You processed pain alchemically. You suffered, you transformed, you emerged stronger than before. That is what led you beyond the established level. Listen carefully, because this is not speculation. These processes are already in motion. The first thing you will experience is clarity of purpose. That lingering sense of, I know I came here for something important, but I can't see it yet, will begin to dissolve. Moments of sudden understanding will arrive. Disconnected experiences will suddenly align. You will see why you lived what you lived, why you were placed where you were, why you crossed paths with specific people. A coherent pattern will emerge, revealing your mission. The second experience will be an acceleration of synchronicities. What once appeared occasionally will now occur frequently. Meetings will feel orchestrated. Resources will arrive just before they are needed. Opportunities will open with precise timing. This is not coincidence. Your frequency has turned you into a magnet for resonance. The third experience will be final cleansing. Situations that have lingered unresolved will reach conclusion. Relationships in limbo will clarify, one way or another. Delayed decisions will demand answers. It will feel like spiritual spring cleaning. What no longer belongs will exit, making room for what does. The fourth experience is the arrival of your tribe. Not followers, not admirers, but true resonance. People who speak your language without explanation, who share your vision, who complement your strengths. Your season of walking alone is ending. Not because you need others to complete you, but because the next phase requires collaboration at your level. We have arrived at the moment everything has been leading toward. This message is not general. It is not symbolic. It is directed to you. If you want, next I can. We have arrived at the moment this entire message has been moving toward. I need your full attention now, because what follows is not general information. This is not symbolic. This is not for whoever it applies to. This is communication directed to your specific soul. Heaven wants you to know this. Everything you sacrificed was seen. Every time you chose the difficult path because it was right. Every time you spoke truth when silence or a lie would have been safer. Every time you defended someone weaker, even when it put you at risk. Every time you preserved your integrity when compromise would have benefited you materially. None of it was missed. There were moments it felt like no one was watching, like your sacrifices didn't matter, like those who cut corners advanced while you struggled. But there is an accounting that operates beyond what is visible, and your account is full. Deposits you made in obscurity are now converting into tangible reward. Heaven also wants you to know this. The tears you cried in solitude were collected. Not poetically, not symbolically, literally. Every tear shed when no one saw you, every moment you broke quietly and still chose to continue, was preserved as evidence of the depth of your human experience. Those tears are now being transformed into blessings that will arrive in ways you do not expect. Heaven wants you to know that your time of waiting is over. You were in a spiritual waiting room for a long time, watching others move forward while you remained still, wondering if something was wrong with you, if you had missed your moment. If the delay was punishment, it was not. The delay was preparation, and the preparation is complete. Heaven wants you to know that you are deeply loved, not for what you do, not for what you achieve, not for how you compare. You are loved for who you are at your core. That love has no conditions, No expiration date. It cannot be earned or revoked. It simply exists. And it is available to you every moment you choose to receive it. And finally, heaven wants you to know this. Your story does not end here. This is not the climax. It is the opening of a new chapter. Everything before this moment was prologue. What comes next will be larger, more impactful, and more significant than your current mind can fully imagine. Chosen one, we have reached the end of this revelation. And now I must ask you something directly. Now that you know the truth about what you achieved, about what you survived, about what is coming, what are you going to do with it? Because knowledge without action is entertainment. And this message was not created to entertain you. It was created to activate you. From this moment, you have two choices. The first option, you close this video, return to routine. Let this revelation dissolve back into the noise of daily life. Nothing will visibly collapse, but nothing will truly change. The second option, you accept what you now know as truth and begin operating from your real position. That means stop apologizing for taking up space. And stop dimming your light to keep others comfortable. And you stop waiting for permission to be who you already are. Start acting like the advanced level soul you have proven yourself to be. The decision is yours. No one can make it for you. No one can wake you up if you choose to stay asleep. But hear this clearly. If you choose the second path, you will not walk it alone. Others like you are being activated now. They are being guided to recognize each other. The network is forming. Chosen one, today you discovered that you surpassed the established level. Not through special powers, not through shortcuts, but through your extraordinary way of processing suffering. You transform pain into wisdom, wounds into power, betrayal into discernment. Because of that, the protections are active. Your frequency is elevated. Your tribe is being drawn toward you, and your mission is finally revealing itself. If this revelation resonated in the deepest part of you, write 777 in the comments as a signal of recognition and alignment. Subscribe and turn on notifications. What comes next builds directly on this activation. Share this message with someone who has also turned pain into power, because advanced souls are meant to find each other. And before you go, click the video appearing on your screen now to discover how your advanced level activates permanent protection and ensures you complete your mission. Together, we are stronger.